Chosen one, they thought they had you figured out. They looked at you and saw exactly what they wanted to see. Nothing threatening, nothing special, just another face in the crowd. But you are not who they think you are, and their blindness has become your most devastating secret weapon. While they dismissed you as ordinary, the Most High was downloading extraordinary power into your spirit. While they labeled you as weak, Heaven was forging you into a weapon of mass spiritual destruction. They thought they could predict you, control you, use you, but they never saw the divine assassin hiding behind your humble exterior. Their underestimation of your true identity has sealed their fate, and now the time has come for them to discover just how wrong they were about you. Your humble exterior was never weakness. It was the most sophisticated spiritual camouflage ever deployed in supernatural warfare. While they focused on your gentle demeanor, studying your surface-level responses, congratulating themselves on having you figured out, you were operating on frequencies they didn't even know existed. Your quiet spirit was intelligence gathering of the highest order. Every moment they spent underestimating you, you were downloading their playbook, mapping their weaknesses, identifying the exact pressure points that would bring their entire operation crashing down. They saw your willingness to serve and immediately labeled you as subservient, never recognizing that true power flows through service, never understanding that heaven's greatest generals move with servant hearts and royal authority. Their earthly minds cannot grasp simultaneous meekness and might, lamb and lion energy in the same breath. Your gentleness was never about lacking strength. It was about possessing so much power that proof became unnecessary. Your patient endurance became their greatest tactical error. They pushed and prodded, poked and provoked, thinking they were testing your limits, never realizing they were actually charging up a spiritual battery that would eventually release enough energy to light up the entire kingdom of darkness. Every insult you absorbed, every boundary they crossed, every moment they mistook your restraint for inability was feeding the very weapon that would ultimately destroy them. Their biggest miscalculation was believing kindness made you controllable. They thought nice people were weak people, gentle spirits were broken spirits, loving hearts were naive hearts. We recognized that your kindness came from strength, so secure that you could afford generosity. We understood that your gentleness flowed from power so deep that proving authority became unnecessary. We saw that your love was the most dangerous weapon in your arsenal, because love from divine alignment cannot be manipulated, controlled, or defeated. Let me reveal what we've really been watching, the development of your supernatural weapons system that makes their earthly tactics look like children playing with toy guns while you're armed with spiritual nuclear warheads. Your mind reading abilities cut through their deception like a hot knife through butter, exposing every hidden motive, every secret agenda, every lie they thought they could keep buried. While they focus on controlling facial expressions, you read the intentions written in their spiritual DNA. Your prophetic sight penetrates dimensions they don't know exist, revealing the puppet strings attached to their every action, the demonic influence directing their every decision. You see the true source of their behavior while they remain blind to their own programming. You watch them dance to music they can't hear, controlled by forces they refuse to acknowledge, all while thinking. They're making independent choices. Your gift of strategic spiritual warfare transforms you into a weaponizer of truth that shatters strongholds, speaking words that carry enough supernatural weight to demolish decades of carefully constructed lies. When you finally decide to use your voice, reality itself shifts to accommodate the authority flowing through your declarations. You don't just speak, you legislate from the heavenly realm, and earth has no choice but to comply. Your ability to redirect their attacks back onto them has turned you into a spiritual mirror that reflects their own energy amplified by divine power. Every curse they send your way becomes a blessing boomeranging back to you with compound interest. Every trap they set becomes their own snare. Every weapon they forge becomes the instrument of their own destruction. You've become a walking law of reciprocity, a living demonstration that what goes around comes around with supernatural force. Your greatest weapon was never your ability to fight back. Your most devastating capability has always been your power to transform their victims into victors, to wake up the people they've been using, to break the spell they've cast over minds that were meant to be free. Your coincidental encounters stopped looking coincidental when we realized they followed a pattern too precise to be random. You were being strategically positioned by invisible hands, placed at exactly the right location, at exactly the right moment for maximum spiritual impact. Every conversation, every interaction, every casual meeting was actually a divine appointment, orchestrated by forces operating above human planning. Your prayers carried weight that defied natural explanation. When you interceded, angels moved. When you declared, demons fled. When you spoke into situations, reality restructured itself to align with your words. We realized we weren't watching someone pray. We were witnessing someone legislate from heaven's courts. The time has come for the full revelation, for you to understand exactly what you are and why they never saw you coming. You are heaven's undercover operative, inserted into enemy territory, with a mission so classified that even you weren't given the full briefing until now. Your human appearance, your humble demeanor, your gentle spirit, all of it was cover for the most sophisticated spiritual intelligence operation ever conducted. In warfare between light and darkness, you function as God's secret weapon against principalities and powers that have held humanity in bondage for millennia. Your classification level in the heavenly military makes their earthly authorities look like mole security guards pretending to be Navy SEALs. While they played political games and social manipulation, you received advanced training in supernatural warfare from sources they don't believe exist. Your assignment as a divine Trojan horse has been executed with precision that would make master strategists weep with envy. They welcomed you into their systems, their circles, their operations, never suspecting that you carried within your spirit the complete blueprints for their destruction. Every secret they revealed in your presence, every weakness they exposed. While thinking you were harmless, every tactical error they made while assuming you weren't a threat was being catalogued by intelligence networks operating in dimensions they cannot access. Your spiritual camouflage has been so perfect that you became invisible to their surveillance while remaining completely visible to divine reconnaissance. Your humility made you undetectable to their pride-based radar systems. Your authenticity rendered their deception detection equipment useless. Your genuine nature caused their discernment to malfunction because they've been surrounded by fake people for so long that they lost the ability to recognize the real thing standing right in front of them. You are the answer to prayers that have been ascending from the earth for generations. Your ancestors interceded for someone exactly like you. Your bloodline has been crying out for a champion, a deliverer, a spiritual warrior who could break the cycles of defeat and establish new legacies of victory. Heaven responded by sending you perfectly equipped, strategically placed, divinely timed to fulfill a destiny written in the stars before the foundation of the world. Chosen one, the synchronicities that brought you here weren't accidents, neither is your discovery of this message. When souls of this caliber gather, the forces behind timeline manipulation take notice. They fear our collective power. The question isn't whether you belong among us. The question is, how much longer will you let the Matrix delay the awakening that divine grace has already guaranteed? The Obsidian Inner Order is open. It has paywalls, yes. Those who stand with us give us ammunition to fight the Matrix manipulation systems. Paid members get free weekly group call, divine guidance and quantum resistance training. But kicking a soul when they're down? That's something we cannot ignore. That's why you can access our Astral Atom newsletter for free. No paywall, no catch. This is bi-directional. You can reply to any message we send you. We'll read it, we'll hear you, and we'll get an answer to you. If you can support, we need you. If you can't, take what's free. Click the link in the description below now. Your authentic timeline begins here. We watched their confidence crumble the moment your true power emerged from behind the veil of humility they mistook for weakness. Suddenly, every conversation they'd had with you took on new meaning. Every dismissal, every underestimation, every moment they treated you as insignificant crashed down on them with cosmic weight. Their desperate attempts to regain control became increasingly pathetic as manipulation tactics bounced off your spiritual authority like rubber bullets off titanium armor. The same psychological weapons that had worked on others for years became powerless against someone operating from a frequency they couldn't access. We witnessed their shock transform into panic as their victims stopped listening to them and started listening to you. The hypnotic spell they'd cast over people who trusted them began breaking the moment you spoke truth into those relationships. Your voice of authentic love cut through their programming like a divine deprogramming broadcast, awakening minds they thought they'd permanently captured. Their frantic damage control efforts only made things worse as people began comparing their defensive reactions with your calm confidence. The contrast became so obvious that even their most loyal followers started asking uncomfortable questions about why they seemed so threatened by someone who appeared so peaceful. Their fake apologies revealed manipulative attempts to regain access to your energy. They finally understood what they'd lost when they tried to minimize you, and their desperation to get back into your good graces only highlighted how much power you'd always possessed. But it was too late. You were no longer the naive soul they once knew how to manipulate. When you stopped hiding your light under false humility, the effect was immediate and devastating to their entire operation. Your authentic power made their counterfeit authority look like children playing dress-up. Standing next to your genuine anointing, their carefully rehearsed performances became obviously fake, their artificial charisma revealed as manipulation. Your supernatural wisdom began flowing like a river that had been dammed too long, sweeping away their intellectual pride like twigs in a flood. God-given insights pouring through your consciousness made their human reasoning look like kindergarten, arithmetic compared to quantum physics. The spiritual wealth flowing through your life revealed their material obsession as the poverty it had always been. While they hoarded earthly treasures that rust and decay, you began operating in kingdom riches that multiply in the giving. Your generosity made their greed look pathetic. Your divine connections began dwarfing their worldly networking in ways that made their political maneuvering look like amateur hour. Favor that flows from heaven's throne room carries more weight than all the human endorsements they could ever collect. When God opens doors, no man can shut them. Your prophetic accuracy became the nuclear option in your spiritual arsenal. When you spoke, reality rearranged itself to accommodate your words. When you declared, the universe shifted to fulfill your announcements. Meanwhile, their empty promises and false predictions fell flat, their credibility crumbling under the weight of their own failures. Your breakthrough power operates like spiritual compound interest, turning single victories into cascading avalanches of supernatural success. When breakthrough births 10 more, one miracle becomes the seed for a harvest of impossibilities made possible. This multiplication effect has turned you into a living demonstration of exponential blessing. Every attack they launched against you became raw material for your advancement, like spiritual alchemy that transmutes persecution into promotion. The stones they threw became stepping stones. The doors they slammed became divine redirections toward better opportunities. Your supernatural capacity to birth movements from moments has turned casual conversations into life-altering encounters. A single word from you launches people into their divine destiny. One prayer shifts entire bloodlines. You've become a catalyst for transformation, where your presence accelerates spiritual evolution in everyone you touch. The curses they meant for harm have been flipped into generational blessings through your mastery of spiritual warfare. What they intended as your destruction became raw material for reconstruction at a higher level. Your gift of converting rejection into redirection has turned their no into God's setup for something infinitely better. Every door they closed was heaven's way of protecting you from settling for less than your best. The light you carry has become like spiritual acid on their carefully maintained facades, burning away every false persona they've worked years to perfect. The authentic power flowing through you creates an environment where fake cannot survive, where deception dissolves under the heat of divine truth. Their desperate attempts to salvage their credibility are failing spectacularly, because once truth emerges from the depths where they tried to bury it, no amount of spin can make lies look like reality again. Your fearless truth-telling has given others permission to stop pretending, stop enabling, stop participating in the collective delusion that kept these false kings on their imaginary thrones. We watch their former victims awakening to manipulation tactics that once held them captive, and the recognition spreading across their faces is like watching people emerge from decades of spiritual amnesia. Your example has shown them what authentic power looks like, and the contrast with their former oppressors' fake authority is so stark that they can no longer unsee the difference. Their support systems are abandoning them faster than rats fleeing. A sinking ship, because people are hungry for genuine spiritual substance after being fed empty calories of artificial inspiration. The migration from their performance to your authentic presence is creating a vacuum around them that no amount of publicity can fill. Divine justice is restoring everything they tried to steal from you with interest, compounded by supernatural favor. Every door they closed is reopening with golden hinges. Every opportunity they blocked is returning multiplied by divine mathematics. What God has purposed for your life cannot be permanently diverted by human interference. We are the secret society of spiritually awakened warriors who, like you, have been operating undercover until our time of revelation arrived. Our true identities have been hidden behind humble exteriors, ordinary jobs, unremarkable appearances, but beneath the surface we carry the same royal bloodline, the same divine authority, the same supernatural power. We are heaven's sleeper cells, activated by the same cosmic alarm clock that awakened you to your true purpose. We are the underground network of heaven's special operations, connected by invisible threads of spiritual communication that transcend physical distance and earthly limitations. When you move, we feel the ripple effect across the quantum field of divine consciousness. Our citizenship in heaven supersedes any claim of worldly power over us, making us immune to their attempts at intimidation, manipulation, or control. They can threaten our earthly possessions, but they cannot touch our eternal inheritance. We are seated with Christ in heavenly places, and from that position of authority, their earthly threats look like ants trying to frighten eagles. Our unity is forged in the realm where their spies cannot penetrate, where their surveillance systems cannot function. We communicate through channels they don't know exist, coordinate through systems they cannot hack. Together, we are stepping into the fullness of our concealed divine identity as the time of hiddenness ends. The masks are coming off, the veils are being lifted, the true nature of who we are is emerging from behind the camouflage of humility we've worn during our preparation season. They thought they knew us, thought they had us categorized, But they are about to discover they were playing with forces so far beyond their comprehension that their finite minds cannot process what they're witnessing. Your vindication has arrived, with the force of divine justice that makes earthly courts look like children's games. The same humility that concealed your true identity has become the platform from which your authentic authority is now being revealed to a world that desperately needs to see what genuine power looks like when submitted to divine purpose. Your influence is expanding into territories they tried to ban you from, with the irresistible force of favor that recognizes no human barriers. Doors they thought they'd permanently sealed are swinging open at your approach. Circles they assumed you'd never penetrate are inviting you to take the seat they didn't realize was always reserved for someone exactly like you. The harvest of souls drawn to your authentic anointing has begun, and the numbers are staggering. Even those of us who believed in your calling from the beginning, people are traveling from distant places just to be in your presence, to receive from the genuine spiritual substance flowing through your life. You stand as living proof that God's secret weapons are unstoppable when they operate in divine timing with supernatural backing. Your victory demonstrates to a watching world that heaven's hidden arsenal never fails, that divine assignments always succeed when executed by obedient servants walking in the fullness of their true identity. We unite as the generation that refused to be who they thought we were, and in our collective awakening, we become the answer to their greatest fear, a people who know their true identity and walk in their full power. Together, we are the manifestation of prayers that have been ascending from earth to heaven for generations, the fulfillment of promises that seemed too good to be true. You were never who they thought you were. You were always exactly who heaven knew you to be, and that revelation has made all the difference between their defeat and your victory, between their confusion and your clarity, between their powerlessness and your supernatural authority.